Welcome back, everybody. We've just seen day two, and we now have seen all three of the host nations playing their opening games with mixed results. We had Canada drawing 1-1 with Bosnia and Herzegovina, and then the USA really taking apart Paraguay 4-1 in the later game. There were a few things I noticed from both games. I think there were some things that overlapped into the other game, but it was, I think, two distinctly different games. I think Canada had, to really work hard for the to come back from behind. And at one point we thought that they would have gone on and take the lead, and um if it wasn't for said Kolasinac underlying incredible goal line stop, they would have started their campaign with a victory. But all in all, I think there were some positives in there, but also some negatives. So I guess we can start with that game. The first thing I noticed from that game was just that there is no safety net around the ball. And what I mean by safety net is that yesterday we spoke about Mexico not being able to sustain waves of attack. And sustain waves of attack, you need one, high numbers into the opposition final third so that you're forcing them to stay with you because you have high numbers up. But two, you also have people ready on what you call that rest defense. So people are ready to, if it does break down, there's a loose pass, there's a clearance, that you're first to it and it doesn't go all the way back to your goalkeeper, or they go falls into one of their players and they can take it up the pitch, and now everybody has to come back defending. You have to restart. So I thought that the safety net was very bad, where defenders were standing off guys were able to receive it. And again, Edin Dzeko did not play, so you're not talking about strikers who are notable and known for their hold up play and bringing players in. All respect to the striker that they had. It's his name is eluding me right now, but he got the goal. But again, I think the Canadian defenders, although the 20-year-old played extremely well, I think they need to improve that rest defense, because what it leads to, if it's not effective and in place, is that the amount of counter attacks that they had to deal with, picking up a yellow card early on for their right back, the Celtic man, and then just like so many opportunities and lost momentum to keep building and really putting Bosnia under the cosh, where just like you keep going again and again. So they needed to have a better safety, and I think they did better when it came to the second half, but it was a little too late. I think the changes were fantastic. Bringing in two wingers, because the other thing I noticed from that game is that the wingers constantly receiving the ball with their back to goal. I think Tejan Buchanan is an incredibly talented player. Ability 1v1, just technical ability to find the pass is incredible. But if he's 90% facing back to goal and he has to constantly try to turn against Kolasinac, it's going to be a difficult game. It's not going to impact the game as much as you want. And we love the effort he was, getting around the pitch and putting in tackles and all that. But that's not his game. That's not what we want. That's not what we want to see from Tejan Buchanan. Um, same with Miller on the other side. Miller is an incredibly quick and crafty player, but a lot of his work was high up the pitch near the half line, or if it's lower, it's with his back to goal. And it's just unfortunate that Area kept his right foot on the left side, and Area kept coming into that. I know they want to occupy the back line, maybe have five, sometimes six across the back line to really pin Bosnia in, because I know Jesse Marsh should be that kind of coach that wants to be aggressive, but by doing that to a right-footed player, you're constantly in his space every time he looks to cut in, and it's difficult. So he went on the outside a few times, but the quality and the danger of crossing it in with his left foot um, was not as effective as if he's coming in, has the ability to cross and to shoot, find little slip-ins for strikers, etc., etc. Which kind of leads to him going on the line and then winning out of corners, which leads to my third thing that I noticed about that game is that we come off a season where we've seen, especially in the English Premier League, but I could say maybe generally around Europe, that set pieces have become extremely important, and I just think that Canada was not able to make use of it, and it kind of makes you think about the importance of a set piece taker, dead ball specialist in a competition like that, where you could really see it as a free throw, if you want to think of it that way. Just the if you have someone with quality can put a quality ball in, and then Estacio going over to on that right side to take them with his right foot, curling out, lofty, lots of air under the ball, no pace on. It just made it very difficult. And Bosnia is an extremely tall and physical team, and Canada was just not able to maximize that. At one point, they were up like 8-1 in corners, and they were not able to create anything. They tried the short one across and playing along the goal line to put something in, but just nothing was effective. And I just think that having in swinging corners is where the game has moved now, just putting and having someone preventing the keeper from coming out and really just giving yourself a chance with a whip ball in that one of your players might get a decent contact on it and going towards goal. But also the defenders are kind of afraid as well, you know. But Bosnia was just winning everything. So for coming up a season where we saw the importance of set pieces, I was kind of disappointed that Jesse Marsh and his team were not able to maximize corners to their full ability. Not that you have to do any horseplay like we've seen with some other teams in Europe, but I wanted a little more out of that. Um, and yeah, I was for the second game now. I was honestly, I've seen a lot of reaction to it, and I tried not to be reactive. I know it's easy to see the opening game and just become very excited and just think like, oh, this might be our fairy tale. Yeah, we saw the Russia in 2018 and just like, oh yeah, like this is going to be amazing. 5-0 in the opening day, like we're going all the way. And it's easy to do that about the USA, but there is something about this USA team that is very, very impressive. The first thing I was impressed is just how sharp they looked. How sharp they looked, especially from guys who have had mixed season. You're talking about Weston McKinney, you're talking about Christian Pulisic, you're talking about Malik Tillman. Um, but those guys look so sharp, and just the combinations, the ability to kind of sit in that 3-2 in the setup in build up and draw Paraguay out, and just the runs from McKinney. I don't know how many sprints him Tillman just did over the top, bypassing the midfield from the like a deep run was just unbelievable. And the one just sheer fitness, but the quality of the run, the timing of the run, the touch then after you do the run, and also the ability to interplay with each other, just like playing in tight areas. And then the press. The press was for me maybe the most impressive part of it is just the ability to win the ball back. So I was thoroughly impressed with the US. I do think that there is a lack of quality in that number 10 role because again you have I mean McKinney joining, but just like quality on the ball in terms of creativity. I know running in behind is easy, but when you come up against teams who can really sit into a mid to low block, I don't see them finding those spaces over the top as much, and I struggle to see. Maybe I mean Pulisic had a fantastic game going 1v1, but I struggle to see them, you know, with the ball on the ground, no spacing behind. How can we shift the team? Which is probably the downside to what I saw yesterday. Balogun had a good game, a couple good goals, you know, shifting one onto his left foot and then curling it beyond the keeper. Very impressive, but I also think that there's a lot of defensive um questions, I would say. It's not worrying yet. Just like the goal they gave up, just like from losing that tackle to just, you know, Enciso in space there. The ball is on the right side here, and then your right on well, Paraguay's right side, their left side, and then their right back is out of the picture. So just questions there about that. But again, I think in a World Cup, it's important to just build confidence. And I think this win gave the whole country, at least where I was watching it, a lot of confidence. And I think it gave the players a lot of confidence. So um, I'm happy with the not I'm happy with the quality that we saw yesterday. I'll say that. I was very disappointed in the Mexico South Africa game. I'm happy with the quality we saw from both teams yesterday. Again, US was incredible on the balls at time. You know, the energy throughout the game, they really put Paraguay under the cosh. And I don't think Paraguay, you know, give a bad representation of themselves. I do think that like from the record I could be honest and say I haven't seen them play a ton. But I think they did all right. This is about, I mean, as maybe the max I can expect from them. I know Enciso is coming off of an injury, so I was surprised he played that long, honestly. But I know he's still maybe yet to peak, and maybe if they met the US after a couple games and he's fitter, then him and Amaron could maybe have a little more influence on the game. But I think it was a fair result, representative of what the US and Paraguay where they're at right now. I think the changes coming in. Gio Reyna, we know there's always a lot of controversy around him. Came in, had a real impact at just manage. I think he came in really just to manage the game and ended up being able to chip in for a goal at the end. I think maybe off the final kick of the game. So all in all, a good day for the US. But I've seen some reports, of just saying, oh, they're going all the way and Portugal's turning them around. And I'm just thinking like, listen, this is the same team that lost to Turkey. This is the same team that have been underwhelming in the warm up matches. So let's not get ahead of ourselves here. With all due respect to Paraguay, it was just Paraguay. It was not a Paraguay team like performing at their max. So I want us to just be realistic, but you can only judge of what you see and you can only play what's in front of you. So I think US had a good day, and then also I think Canada, there was some signs there. It's unfortunate that Fonzie is not able to join them at this point. I saw him on the bench, but he would have been an excellent inclusion. But Bosnia again, no, they played to their strengths and they look like they can get some points. So all the hosts done, no, none of the hosts lost. So um a good start for CONCACAF as well. Today we're looking at 4 games, really 3 because one starts at midnight, so technically the other day. But we're looking at Qatar, Switzerland at 3. So excited to see that. Then we have an always an ever favorite whenever you go into World Cup is Brazil. So Brazil taking on Morocco, which is another um, expectant favorite. I mean, it's probably a long shot, but also a very good team. So I think that'll be the most competitive game we've seen so far in terms of quality. And then that happens at 6 p.m. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to today. And then we have another CONCACAF team taking part at 9 p.m. with Haiti versus Scotland. And then the midnight game that I was talking about is Australia versus Turkey. So we get to see the other 2 teams in USA's group and see how they compare to the performance last night. But excited to see the games. So they finally have a 4-day game from the 2, and it stretches into the night. So we'll be busy watching all the football, and hopefully I will be back with you guys tomorrow to give you a breakdown of what I've noticed along throughout those 4 games. So again, thank you, and looking forward to reading your comments and hearing what you think.